bring us all up to speed of events that have transpired and where we are now.
Fuck yeah, I'll shoot this fish in a barrel. We started in the morning and tried to figure out the best plan of action as we had an invite to the council for a testimonial for Karakara. And after some significant conversation, we resolved to track down Berggren and, at the best we possibly could, resolve his situation in its entirety. Got to the Platinum Pigeon, found that it had been closed, spoke to some guards, it had been raided, and he had escaped earlier in that day, likely got wind of something, possibly about Redstream, and his crackdown. We we left a note for him at the Platinum Pigeon with directions to the Half God's Get, and Ember sent him a message baiting him to come to the Platinum Pigeon to find those directions so that we can get him the book that we quote unquote stole. And he fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Came to the Platinum Pigeon, briefly held Krios at ransom, not at ransom, but as a collateral.
Hostage?
And
Hostage,
before
that's
Nat
the word.
1 insight check.
Yeah. Oh. We lured him downstairs. Cal charmed him. We executed him after learning that he had a bit of money stashed away. He claimed he was very interested in this tome so that it would make him personable and he could get his life on track, although that sounds like a lot of excuses. What else? We learned that he had already killed like a good handful of people in his
11.
past. Yeah.
At least.
At least, yeah. And then we were exhausted because our day had been spent waiting for him to show up.
I would like to add, this is just me. Let's not say we killed this man for his money. That was not exactly why we did it.
No, it's definitely not. That is absolutely not why we did it. But we did go to his safe house and take the money he had left.
Technically, we killed him for Cal's money, or the lack of it.
I would also like to put forward that Ember did not lure him to the Platinum Pigeon. Ember invited him.
That's so fucking funny.
You have played the technicality to make out of this. You did go in the other room, so you didn't have to watch it.
Yeah, man. You say tomato, I say potato.
You say good. Premeditated murder, I say
yeah,
potato.
I say my ears were in my fingers in the other room.
We made it clean. We made it kind.
I mean, yeah.
Cal did find his tea recipe, and I think is just gonna throw it in a ditch or something. Something
as he fucking should.
Like I presume this is now Cal's drunk pitch pouch.
You do not know Cal at all if you think he's throwing that in a ditch.
I think it'd be way funnier if you still started the tea shop and just did it despite him. Yeah. See, I know Adam.
Name it Berggren's a bitch. God damn it, Max.
I don't know what's happened. I'm going through voice changes and my laugh has gotten weirder and it's harder to stop.
It's just, it doesn't, every time you giggle, it fucks me up. It makes me giggle.
All right. Take some inspiration, Max. Thank you very much. Also, some of you did visit the Slayer's stronghold and got an idea about one of the contracts you were had taken on. Other people had attempted to resolved, one of the kobolds, and that has elevated into something else as the kobolds apparently were successful in what they were doing. And there is now at Farmer Ibbott's, there is a not baby, not adult dragon that has made its home there.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. We also discovered that some of the Karakara refugees are infected with a black metallic
Oh, yeah.
fungal something or other.
Oh yeah, yeah. You guys found out. Yeah, some of the refugees have
Yeah.
some kind of sickness that afflicts some of them, not all of them, a small percentage. But
Currently,
given their
the church
volume
has
problems.
the church has a detailed pamphlet on my good check on them.
Yeah, we've been
I packed
spreading
them in like one-page paper.
curing magic as well as information.
Yeah, provided the Church of Lathander some information on how to recognize those that may be under this affliction, and certainly what works on it. It seems they have also discovered kind of like what works for them as well, but it's just a city's worth of people are coming in, and there's just not enough magic to go around. And seemingly, as you're discovering, not a, not the city is built for Bastion. It's not built to accommodate another city's worth of population. You are seeing the effects of that beginning to occur as more and more refugees arrive every day. Um, Excellent. So you do have some information about activities to do from the Slayer's Stronghold. It is currently the first of Tarksaw. Tarsak. You're expected before the council on the 4th, and it is currently 2 in the afternoon. As your Bergerin, your Bergerin issue was resolved quite smoothly due to some very good ideas and very bad rolls on his part. Um, Afternoon of the 1st, what do you guys do? You are all, I think you had split up a bit to get some information. Um, let's, for ease of use, for all of our sakes, let's say that everyone is hanging out at um, hanging out at Rainier's place right now.
Okay. Do we want to just take the rest of the day? I mean, we've talked about. I know a few of you are interested in going to the Slayers on Slayers quests, but we don't have that many days between now and when we're expected, and I'm fucking tired.
Yeah, I don't think we have enough time to do anything important.
I mean, they didn't got like anything to do in town or
No, everything's outside of town. We can talk to this one person who commissioned them for a job, but that would just be getting information on the job. The job itself is still outside of town.
and what were those jobs?
Well, one's fighting a potentially young dragon. The other is collecting ingredients for was it a brew? Sorry, it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
for a brew,
Oh.
which might interest you, but again, I don't think we have time.
Yeah, probably not.
Wait, how much time do we have before we're being
3
whatever
days.
with the council? Okay.
It's pretty much 3 days there and back.
Where is is the dragon like that's like 3 days away or
Day and a half there, day and a half back.
I mean, yeah, that'd be pretty tight. We'd be showing up, hoping we get it in one, and then limp back home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we survive.
I mean, I guess if we bought like horses, we could maybe do it faster.
But that would still be entirely contingent on us surviving a dragon encounter.
Yes, but if we don't survive, I'm relatively sure the council can't do anything more to us for not showing up to testify.
Good
I think
point.
They also
It-
won't be able to get to our bodies, so
I think it's more important the information that we have than a slave's mission. That's coming from me. Also, we learned that you can become a member.
Oh, of the guild?
Mm-hmm.
Are there dues?
Yes. 250 gold per year.
Jeez.
jeez. And for what?
Amenities, basically.
Probably first bid on contracts.
I think that, some equipment, a little area where you can drink with others.
A VIP section.
This
VIP
sounds like shit.
Well, I'd be interested to see what they're selling.
No harm in investigating that, I think.
How much money do I have? Ooh.
Well, I'm up to help in any way we may need, but barring that, I think I'm going to be spending some time at home.
I was gonna ask if maybe that's something the Light Spire might want us to do, but seeing as how we failed the last mission, and he says failed in quotations, they may not be as apt to hire us again.
They're also busy with their refugee situation.
True.
Plus, I believe the other request on the bishop's part was something that was outside of town anyway, so still would have been taking us out of the city walls and probably a day out. Crayals, you have any fires under your ass right now that you want to get resolved?
Turns around, checks the tail. He's like, no fire.
It's like a metaphor. It's like a proverbial fire.
He just nods. He's like, uh-huh. No. I'm gonna go with the no.
There is that uh the thing we can't find with the umbrella. The one that gives tattoos to people, gives them abilities.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, I am interested in the fuck is going on with that.
That's the only thing in town that I can think of. Although, forgot the name. Give me a second. Maybe someone at the Arcanium needs something.
Yeah, but are they gonna need it like in town or?
Only
They
one way to find out.
probably got interns for that, but no harm in asking, I think.
I remember those interns. They are not as capable as we are.
Oh. Shit.
Right.
We got our asses handed to us by wizards on the regular, so that's not really reassuring.
I mean, it's only been
Twice, which have been really bad.
maybe 2.5.
I mean, we won one or two of those battles, so
Yeah,
be
we're going
interested in increasing that.
we're going about
statistic.
50-50, and that's not nothing. I mean, do you want to just like bacchanal it up for a few days? I got shit to work on, so like I could just be on that.
I'm sorry, do we want a what?
Bacchanal.
Bacchanal. Get
Fuck
fucked up.
around.
Find out.
No.
No,
Just
no,
fucking
not that.
around.
No.
Just
Really, the way you just get it done is let Cal make your partying decisions for 2 to 3 days, and that'll sort you.
I'm for that. I'll be honest. Taking some time and breathing.
Yeah, I mean, I can try to get some work in, yeah. I can help out around the temple, too.
Any strong oppositional feelings, anyone?
I think the only opposition I have is that we feel kind of useless until then, but seeing as how I don't have any remedies for that, nope.
I mean, you can just take some time to.
I'm gonna pull out 10 platinum, and hand that to Ragnarok and say, you can go out and buy some rations, some material goods, and perishable foods too, and distribute that. That might not feel so useless.
That's a good idea.
Well, I'm going to fuck off for a little while. I'll be home in the evenings. Might be around town during the day, but for the most part, I'll be around. If any of you need me.
All right, I'm gonna start working on some things. I'll be in the tent.
Do you want someone to bring food to you, or?
I'm trying to work on Chorby's motor skills, so I'm probably gonna have him come to the house and see if he can like carry it.
Mildly terrifying. We will be keeping an eye out for that.
There ain't nothing terrifying about Chorby.
Just got, some delicate materials in my house. That's all.
I mean, he's a light touch. Look at him.
Fair enough.
He faces you with the eternally squinty eye that's on his.
You see Merv make like a complex hand gesture, and Chorby just does a thumbs up. They were working on it.
Cool. So begins a few days of downtime. We'll just go down the list and just see just what people are getting up to in this time. It's short, so things that require long-term, time investments, you're not going to be able to get done. But if it's like, hey, what would my character do with a few days? Doesn't have to be extensive, can be just very simple. But we'll just see what everyone is getting up to. I'm just gonna open the player sheet. Cool. What does Ember Prime get up to?
I was gonna look up crafting, but a significant portion of her time is going to be spent at whatever temple we have been to. I forget the name of it. We've been to it repeatedly. It's the one where she was brought back from the dead, so feel like she knows where it is. I just don't remember. Ted, do not remember the name of it.
Yeah. It is the Church of Lathander. So you can always refer to it at as that. I believe our name for it is the Light Spire. But but since I know at one
I
point
believe it changes every session.
yeah, I believe yeah, I know the Light Spire and Morning Spire, so we'll say that people
My kind of
call it
temple.
both. Yeah, people refer to it both ways as he is the Lord of both the morning and the light.
Yeah, she will be spending time using both her magical skills and her just regular medicinal skills, doing what she can for the incoming refugees.
Cool, excellent.
Looking for sick people, supporting the paladins that are there.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of long days. Not necessarily for you, but like you see the people here are this church is really trying to make an effort for these people, and you see and hear disciples from other temples are moving through the streets as well. You hear people talking about some other temples in town also trying to assist the refugees. You get a great sense of the time you spend here, not only helping people who are very appreciative of what you've done. The people here, they don't have a lot since they've just like whatever they had they came with. Some people had more, some people had less. Um, People do offer to like pay you coin. Do you take it?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. um, they extend their blessings, whatever their beliefs are, to you. um, you get information that th- roughly a third of Karakara has been but like a quarter of the city is like gone. And that mixture of rumor from these people, those that had like recently arrived, meaning they'd been on the road longer or left later. Um, there's a lot of rumor about um, people who are staying back in the city, um, and that there's rumor of danger the closer that you get to the monolith. Um, but a lot of like it's like crazy rumors, right? Like people are just saying like outlandish things, but there's no way of really knowing what basis any of it has. That the road itself has been a little dangerous to travel, but due to their numbers, they're like they've seen and heard banditry on the road down here. But a lot of people weren't affected because like there might be a group of like 100 people walking together, and even a lot of bandits don't want to risk that. Um, you do see, um, two people in the crowd that have the red runes on their faces, um, which you've seen people getting before. And there's a lot of talk amongst the refugees um, about like finding out how they um, can also like get a hold of it. Simple enchantments and simple magics to try to just help their um, quality of life while they're here. In addition to that, you also get a sense that the population here in Bastion um, are not happy with the influx of refugees. Um, a lot of people put on a face that you can kind of see through the veneer of. Um, some people don't even bother with it and like are just flat out like rude. Consider these people like vagabonds, right? Criminals, maybe. You also catch rumor information that some people think that this is an attack from the Arcanium, that some experiment of theirs went wrong, and that's what caused this to happen. Some people think that um, there are elements of like maybe some like people from Karakara like kind of betray their own and cause this to happen, right? There's a lot of conjecture about the reasonings. Um, some of them even like no, some people even say like no, there was a lady, like we saw a person flying up out of the pit, right? But that doesn't seem to be like the story that holds. So you get a lot of rumored information in your time that you spend here.
Any time that first off, I don't think Ember really leaves. I think she just starts sleeping at the temple.
Sure.
And anytime she hears the rumors about the Arcanium did this or anything like that, she is shutting that down as fast as she can.
Cool.
Like, some of us were there. Shut the fuck up. That sort of like 6 charisma,
Yeah. I mean, people listen to you for sure. You can tell though that like those rumors persist. Of
Yeah.
there's just so many unknowns and there's too many people, right? And the story changes so quickly between it all. It's just a lot of fear. These people are still very afraid. Excellent. What is Cal getting up to?
Cal's primary endeavor during these 3 days is to go around to whatever government agencies or whomever would be necessary. He is looking to establish the Kalawunex Cletinthilar Karakara Care Consortium as a nonprofit organization and set up a bank account, which he will put 50 platinum into.
Okay, I like it. I mean, you can certainly like set up, like create a
Mhm.
little account, right? Get it started. Registering it, like fully registering that.
Mhm.
If you want it fully legal, you will have to go through the count, not the Council of Bastion, but you will have to
Right.
go to the building and then go through
Mhm.
all the administrative processes of like you want to register that all on the books and legal, and get
Yep.
a license and everything for it. Um, they tell you that um, a wonderful idea to help those in need. This process normally would only take 4 weeks. However, due to the volume of incoming workload, you'd be looking at 8 weeks before you can get something like that traditionally done. However, they do have an expedition fee if you'd like to pay another 50 gold, and they can get that done within 2 days.
Yeah, I will pay the 50 gold to have that expedited.
Okay. The clerk takes all the coin, tells you, come back in, fill out these papers, come back in 2 days, and, they'll get everything in order for you.
Mhm. Wonderful.
Cool. Um, You come back in 2 days, and they are stamped, signed, sealed by the city of Bastion, recognizing this as a legal entity that you have created. Anything that you do with this, in that time, or just establishing it.
Um, For the time being, I think this is enough for Cal. And yeah, I think this is it. Just wants to have it at the ready.
Yeah, okay, cool. Very good. I love it. Krios, what does Krios get up to?
He for majority of the day is really still stuck on creating creating a technique for Merv to be able to trip somebody in a fight, and he is just sitting trying to draw like Merv's proportions to other proportion figures that he's had to see what would be most effective, how he would if he would need help, trying to just make up scenarios in his head and then acting them out.
Yeah, really working out the academics, the theory work that it takes to craft something like that. Yeah.
And other than that, he is also trying to at like in the spur of the moments when he feels like he's getting overwhelmed, he's trying to figure out what he can do to make more money to go back and get that sword from the old hag.
From the thing, yeah. I mean,
Juggling.
yeah, you could do some street performances. Yeah. Yeah, in the time frame, I mean, you're a master of battle. I mean, you made good progress on um, the theory craft of how to create this maneuver, you know. But it will take, time and practice. That's you know that once you envision it in your mind, you will then have to apply it, right? So
Yes.
it will take time to practice as well. Cool, excellent. So a little bit of training work. What's Merv getting up to?
So with this sample of the black like bio ooze, I guess biotech ooze, Merv is sitting down and like over the course of that 3 days trying and testing a whole bunch of things to figure out like if there is a certain thing that it does not like, right? Like there's some parasites that like hate garlic and shit, right? So you put a bunch of garlic in the body and they wig out and try to get out. Like,
Yeah.
is there some kind of something that's innocuous that, and not maybe not even innocuous, just the host can survive it and potentially like flush them out.
Yeah. A lot of what you have is because it was the encounter that Ember, like, I believe, burned it all. Um, uh, a lot of what you had, what like is damaged, but there are some that are a little bit, still have some life in them that weren't incinerated.
Another thing I would do actually is I have a little bit of baby mimic blood, and I would
Okay.
try to use baby mimic blood to see if I could make more of the thing in
Okay.
small amounts.
That is going to require an alchemy tool check for sure.
Let's see.
You can use your intelligence for this.
It's been some time. There we go. Oh, I guess I haven't asked before, but if are there some checks I could do with Alchemist when I'm doing my thing that Chorby can act as assistant?
I don't think that
Okay.
Chorby can necessarily act as assistant, other than like he can be like holding and handing you things, 21. Okay, very good. Yeah, the mimic blood increased the DC significantly.
Yeah.
So 21 is very
I
good
want to
here.
make a robust fucking. I don't want it to be sickly.
Yeah.
It's no use testing it on the sickly slow ones. You gotta try to make a new one and test some shit on it.
You isolate portions of the goo that are still kicking. You mix a bit in with the mimic blood, which has a very potent reaction as the mimic blood um, replicates essentially just replicates and becomes this thing. Um, and so you have like alive versions of it
Yeah.
that what let's see, you're using all like vials and stuff like that for
Yeah,
it.
I keep them in flasks probably.
Yeah, you
Because
you
it's
see
way stronger than like a little vial.
yeah, you the stuff you've mixed in with the mimic blood, the material itself begins to like the little worm structures. It changes from this black goo with like worm kind of things writhing in them to looking like um, they begin to take on the appearance of like an earthworm, like a normal looking worm.
Mhm.
And the tar material slowly like recongeals into looking like dirtied water. It begins to look more normal than what it is.
Huh. Meaning like it's hiding basically.
The mimic blood is very clearly allowing it to
Yeah.
make itself look less dangerous.
Yeah, with this thing I immediately start dropping lots of things on it to see what it doesn't like. This thing
Um,
just becomes the horrible little test subject over the next like 2 days.
yeah.
That was day 1. This is the next like 2.
um, continuing these tests for the time period, I'll say it will consume your uses of mimic blood.
Yeah,
In
that's
order
fine
to
because
do all this.
the idea is I'm trying to get something that if I gave it to a person, it would invoke a violent response of these things trying to get out of the host. You know, that might be bad in certain cases because it might like fuck them up, but for the minor ones, right? The ones that aren't completely far gone, it might be a way of getting rid of the early infections.
Right. You find effective means of these that things that affect it. Intense heat, which that makes sense with what Ember
Yeah.
used, flame on it, right? So fire, intense heat, they will either be damaged or destroyed from that, depending. Acids work on them just fine.
Hmm.
Um, in your time here, you definitely figure out that it is like a collection, a kind of host,
Hmm.
a colony of these things, and that the more of them that are together, the higher their base intelligence appears to be.
Yeah. So then once I determined that like acid and fire would both work, or like not fire, like heat, it'd be a matter of trying to develop some kind of way to introduce those things to a person in a way that doesn't kill them, but does cause the, like I said, I think Merv knows once these things are too bad in you, they would like probably just tear you apart trying to get out. So this is for the few of them we saw that were like, early stages.
Yeah.
What could try to force them out or make a person like, you know, puke them out depending on where they are.
Yeah. You know that from witnessing it, like healing magics definitely work. So like if you were able to produce some kind of like elixir that could replicate an effect of that, um if you were able to create like a potion of possible like disease removal, that might do it. In terms of pure alchemy of like acid, heat, fire, you're not. I would say like those elements strong enough to know that to apply them to the degree needed to affect this, but not kill the host, is very, very like almost impossible to do. You'd be damaging the host person at the same time as getting rid of it if you're just trying to use elements themselves.
Yeah, what about what about any back of the napkin like poisons that they wouldn't like?
On a 20 on a 21,
Like poisons that
that's
don't murder a person, because there's a billion different poisons that just paralyze you, right?
yeah,
Like,
potential, but you'd have to have poisons to test with.
okay. Yeah, I mean, all of this is just going into like a a dossier. Like, I'm also using this time to just flesh out the more formal dossier that I'm going to give the council on this problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just going into a very detailed log. I'm creating a separate copy that's going to be for the Arcanium, probably.
Yeah, yeah, and
Okay.
you've certainly figured out like things that like potential solutions, dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Things that are known to work, here. So like,
Yeah.
even if you don't have a perfect solution, you have gathered and information on what does and does not, what will and
Yeah.
will not be
Like,
effective.
even stupid shit like, in theory, if there's enough of them in someone and you put them near a fire, if they have enough intelligence, they might actually try to run away.
Potentially, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Like, finding out potentially the ones that are very, very far gone is putting them in close proximity with an open source of fire and seeing what they do.
Which?
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be good. It's probably the host isn't gonna be fine, but
Yeah. All you need to know is this person's infected is to put them
uh-huh.
on, is to, light them
Like,
on fire.
it's fine. The more details I have about this thing, the more useful it is for the council. So that's
Yeah,
fine. Even if I
yeah,
don't find the miracle solution, I pass it off to somebody who can maybe actually use this information
yeah,
and has resources. Just bog trash in a tent in somebody's yard, okay?
I mean, for bog trash in the tent, you're doing great work.
Yeah, I'll just make sure I have a dossier prepared for, like, Merv like gets his best penmanship out for the council and also for the Arcanium, which we can give
Cool.
to them later.
Okay, very good. What's Ragnarok getting up to? I know they were given coin to possibly give out some rations and whatnot.
Yeah, so that's day one. While also keeping an eye out for the red white umbrella, which he'll be doing every single day. And then stopping by the Arcadium to see if they have any odd jobs for the group or me to do. And if nothing else, then training.
Okay. um. Uh. I'll give you your choice. You can do either investigation or perception to try to find. Since you were like purposefully looking to try to find the rainbow umbrella, which will lead you to the people who give the runic tattoos.
I'm gonna do investigation because I've been doing perception in the past for some stupid reason, and my investigation is high.
Okay,
13.
13. Okay. um, you stop by the Arcanium. Um, there's question of like some people are like the guards are like, we don't know who you are. You give your
Oh yeah.
name and that eventually gets down to Baracus and Fettlework, and they come up to greet you. You see that Baracus is accompanied by a young elf with blonde hair, who is his apprentice. His name is on the tip of my tongue, and it is Rael. Rael. They come up to greet you and just see like hey, how are you doing? How is everyone else? Um, they inform you they don't have any like work right now, as They currently, Baracus is liaising with the council and trying to like answer what questions that they ask when they come up. Fettlework is busy on a new prototype version of the golems that do work throughout the city here. So they don't have anything like work here. Um, but Baracus does inform you that once things like settle down with the council, he's definitely going to be looking for assistance, in the future for him. He actually does ask you, if you would be interested, though, like, he asks you, I mean, how busy are you? I understand you're supposed to testify in front of the council in a few days, but I have Rael heading off to Finlanora for a little bit of groundwork, and he may need an escort. So, I mean, are you personally available?
I'm not doing much until we testify.
Hmm. So he'll be there for a while.
Mhm.
You'd miss the council meeting, and you'd be away from everyone else for a while.
How long?
Well, it depends what Rael finds.
What's he
Could be
looking
up to
for?
2 weeks, could be more.
What's he looking for?
Rael steps forward and says, "Well, my family is in Finlandora. Um, the Arcanium has an old research station, and we were going through, places Adumeli used to visit, and she used to be stationed there for a few years, and I don't know. I thought maybe we'd find a clue or something as to where she might be, where she might be heading. I don't know. But since we can't magically find her, this is the best we can do now. You know.
And when are you leaving?
Well, I'm scheduled to leave tomorrow.
Mm.
You don't have to accompany him. You were looking for work. It is something, but as I said, it would take you away from the city for quite a time.
Yeah, I'd love to help you, but uh, I think the investigation is more important for now, anyways.
Hmm. Very well. Well, uh, if there's nothing else,
Do you know anything about the wounds that people are given, supposedly by people under a red and white umbrella?
the wounds people are getting?
Runes. Runes.
Runes. I can't say I'm familiar. You said they're
Hmm.
getting them under an umbrella, like a romance thing?
Supposedly, like a shop is setting up every so often in different places, and for money, they are giving them these wounds. I guess it bestows magical properties on the people.
Do you happen to know what kind of magical properties?
It seems fairly mundane. Uh, the one we saw was conjuring fire.
Conjuring fire isn't always mundane.
True.
This is the first I'm hearing of it, but I've been very busy as of late.
Hmm.
If you wouldn't mind, if you find anything else about it, let me know.
Oh, for sure.
People selling magic, I mean, trivial things, it's not the end of the world, but giving magic to everyone, not everyone understands how to control such things.
We're definitely looking into it, but nothing's come of it so far.
Well, you find out anything, let me know.
Of course.
Here, for the ferry. And he flicks you a silver coin to pay your way back.
Oh, nice. I also would like to go to Lush Bottom. I forgot
Okay,
the name of it, but
okay.
here it is in my notes.
Okay. You stop by the Lush Bottom. It's a tavern and brewery. Um, and uh, you meet a dwarven woman. I will type her name in the chat. Uh, uh, Wefwin Woldpike. Perfect match for you, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
um, she's a boisterous, bold dwarven woman who runs this tavern. It's small, right? It's like um they sell it's like a specialty beer house, right? So it's not like a huge tavern. It's like they sell like the weird stuff, and you can tell like she makes it. And uh Different strange creations that she comes up with. Um and she says to you, um oh, so you're here about the ingredients that I've been looking after.
I am.
Ah, excellent, excellent. And your name is?
Ragnarok.
Ah, Ragnarok. My name's Wefwin Woldpike. Good to meet you.
She got it first try.
um, I've been looking after ingredients for a new drink of mine. It's called the Java Howler. It's a ale kind of coffee combo, but it needed an extra bit of spice, and well, the only thing that has this spice is a cave fisher, and I need the blood of the cave fisher. You understand?
Mm-hmm. Um, Sorry, I'm new to the world. What is a cave fisher?
Oh, it's just like a weird cave creature. It's like a scorpion and a cockroach.
Oh, uh, how far away do they live?
Well, there is a cave not far outside town, roughly a day's journey, that they've been known to nest in, and their nest is currently active, and that's why I'm asking for people to go get the ingredients. They don't nest all the time there, but since they're there now, now's the best time. And what I need is their blood. But they can't be alive, they have to be dead. While they're living, the blood is poison. But while they're dead, then I can transfer it into something different, and then I can make it into the spice that I need.
How often do they move?
Well, whenever their cave feels threatened from time to time, when they new clutch of eggs is born, they'll swim out into the river and, go do whatever their thing is. The cave might be one of their spawn locations. They appear there fairly regularly. Oh, if you do find any of the eggs, those I would like as well. I could possibly breed some in the cellar.
That sounds dangerous.
Very.
Uh, how much blood is needed? From one? From multiple?
Oh, as much as possible. As much as possible. I think this drink will be a big hit.
Sounds
Now,
interesting.
Now, the thing is, you get me the blood, you get me as many eggs as possible, but the thing is, a lot of those weird magic types in town, they'll pay good money for some of the pieces of these cave fishers. If you're able to harvest extra eggs, you're welcome to them. Um, some of the parts of the cave fisher. People are looking after. They spin a weird filament. That's valuable. Their meat, surprisingly tasty. And of course, the carapace is valuable as well.
That's all very good to know. Thank you.
Now, when can you get this done for me? I'm looking to make a batch of this as soon as possible.
Well, I'm gonna talk to my group that I go with. We have an appointment coming up on the 4th. Uh, I'd like to see it done before then, but very likely we'll have to do it after that day.
Ah, I see. Well, I did put the order in with the Slayer Stronghold. I hope it's you that brings me the blood, but there are others that might be willing to do it for a bit of coin. So hopefully, there's eggs and blood left over.
I understand. Well, it was lovely talking to you.
Oh, absolutely. Please stop in anytime.
For sure. Do you have any specialty doings now?
I do.
What you got?
She has uh in right now, I have a strawberry hibiscus guava fresca. It's a bit of a bubbly drink. I have a sorrel spritz mocktail, non-alcoholic. We get some of those around here. And I also have a spicy pineapple ginger frozen mocha.
Ooh, can I try that?
Absolutely. Um, it's 5 gold for this drink.
Ooh.
You see that she goes to town behind the counter, putting a bunch of different ingredients together, and you see that some of the people working behind the countertop as well. Um, you see they have like robes of the that would like I think that they are like from the Arcanium, and she hands the glass over to them, and they begin uh, chanting some magic words and then infusing ice into this drink, and then hands it over to you as the ice is the billowing cold is pouring off of it.
He starts looking at it. It's very good.
I know it's a acquired taste.
You said it's mocha?
Spicy pineapple ginger frozen mocha.
Wow. I feel so awake.
You'll feel that way all day.
Yeah, he'll sit and he'll drink the rest of it and then head out.
Excellent. Um, it's up to your character if you think that combination of flavors is good or not.
I
But you
think
do,
I think he's just not used to tasting a lot, and there are
yeah,
a lot of flavors happening right now,
yeah,
and so it's very exciting, not necessarily tasty.
yeah, makes sense. But you are buzzing, buzzing.
Cool.
Hell yeah. With your 13 investigation check, um, you find the rainbow umbrella.
Oh, it's rainbow. I've been saying red and white this whole time.
You see that there is a crowd of about 50 people on this street corner, and standing on like a small box, you see 2 people, a male and a female, both in their late 20s, early 30s or so, dressed fairly nice, not certainly not upper class. Um, look like they're probably maybe West Bastion. Um, they kind of like they're in an area that's a little nicer, right? The majority of the crowd, you see a mix of some Bashanites. It's a lot of Karen Carr and refugees, a lot of them. And the gentleman is addressing the crowd, and he's saying, in these times, these dangerous, unknown future days, it's good to have security, to have self confidence, to be self empowered. And that's what we offer you: protection, safety, confidence, the ability to look after yourself, the ability to defend yourself when in need. Now, these gifts may not have been able to save your city, but they might save you in the times to come. We have gifts of all sorts, any price range. You see people in the crowd begin to swell forwards as people are holding up bags of coin and clamoring to uh, pay for whatever it is that they are offering here. How long do you stay?
As long as it takes to get addressed by one of them or to engage with one of them.
Cool. It's a large crowd, so if you wait and do nothing, it'll be hours and hours. Um, or you could, like, make a move and go up.
Yeah, I would definitely try and engage them, push myself to the front without being violent about it.
Yeah.
But
You
then
make
make
your
my
way to
way
the
up.
you make your way to the front. You're a big person. A lot of people like turn or like, hey, oh, and kind of just let you work your way up.
These shifts
It-
be more intimidating.
um, what you see is as someone pays coin and they are offered like that, you can hear them being offered like like, what level of enchantment are you looking for? Are you looking for protection? Are you looking for something to help your quality of life? How much coin do you have? You see, as each person deals with the gentleman, once that is handled, they are handed off to the female next to them. And the female places her hands on their, like on either side of their head, and closes her eyes and begins chanting. And you see that she also carries they both have the runes on their faces. Her runes are more intricate than a lot of the other ones and cover like both sides of her head, almost like the sides of her face and then leading to her forehead like a crest. And those runes glow, and the person she is touching, they kind of shudder for a bit. Some cry out, um, some in pain, some in distress, and after a few minutes, the runes begin to trace themselves on their skin, and their eyes open, and they hug her, thank her for the gift, and you can see many of them like instantly use whatever it is that they got. Some are um, small things, and you're familiar. You recognize a lot of these spells. These are mostly cantrips, though some do seem to have gotten something stronger. Spells that are harder to quickly identify. But the cantrips come fairly easy to you once you see them. Prestidigitation, little thing that you see Ember doing, creating fire in a hand and closing it and locking it down. You see people summoning spectral hands near them, like Umeli and other wizards, to lift things and carry them. That goes on. You get about half dozen of that before you make your way up. The gentleman looks to you and says, "Ah, friend, how is it that we can help you today?"
Well, I'm just kind of wondering what you guys offer here, more specifically than security, safety, and protection.
Oh, well, all sorts of things here. Would you like to be able to have your things carried for you by a hand of some kind? Would you like to create the illusion of objects? Maybe a painting of a loved one? Perhaps you'd like to run fast.
Run
Maybe you
fast.
like to be invisible?
Talk to me about this one fast.
Oh, very special rune indeed. This, for only 100 gold, we will inscribe a rune into you that will allow you to quickly move from location to location in case you need to run from danger.
Oh, towards it. And he
Pardon?
smiles. Oh, towards it. And he smiles.
Or towards it. He takes a better look at you. I have to say, you don't look like a normal patronage. You seem like someone who, frankly, wouldn't need such things as this.
I mean, it seems you're giving magics away. I am intimately familiar with how useful magic can be.
Well, as you can see, we offer a fine service for both the people of Bastion and the refugees of Karakar.
I see. So this
W-
wound that makes you run fast.
Hmm. Would you like it?
What specifically does it do?
I will tell you. I actually have
Tight.
to look up the spell to make sure that I know what it does. Um, it will imbue you with the Long Strider spell, which will increase your speed by 10 feet until the spell ends, which it lasts an hour.
It's not concentration, is it?
It is not concentration.
Hmm. And it's only 100 gold?
For only a mere 100 gold.
That's not a bad spell. I like that. Yeah, let's do it.
Very well. He has his hands out for the money.
Give it.
Cool. Um, if you would see my associate here, um,
Yeah. I noticed you guys set up in different spaces all the time. I was wondering if you plan on doing this again tomorrow.
well, depends. We see how business goes. We are here to help, but we are here to make coin by helping other people's lives, and you know, we move shop often. I try to reach all the clientele that we can. As for tomorrow, we'll see what tomorrow brings, but we won't be in the same place twice.
And I'm sorry, I missed it. What's your name, friend?
Oh, my name is Rogo, and this here is Vlen.
Can you spell fun?
I sure can. It's Rogo and Vlen. Uh, Rogo is male human. Vlen is female human.
Real good. Do you have a last name or are you like me?
Oh, just Rogo.
Rogo, got it.
Right this way. He hands you off to Vlen, and you can hear him addressing the next person who's holding coin out. Um, Vlen is not beautiful, but um, easy on the eyes. A warm face, kind eyes as well. You can see though, um, under the runes that almost seem etched into the skin, you can see there is scarring marks, like well, you'd be familiar. scars that a blade would leave.
Mm.
She looks at you and says, I understand that you're looking for um, the speed to run towards your enemies in danger. Is that correct?
Mm. 2 of them depends on the situation.
Of course, of
I'm not
course.
stupid.
You need not. You need but close your eyes and focus on being swift.
Is this gonna hurt?
For some, she reaches her hands up towards your. You're taller than her. Uh, places her hands on the. You feel her hands gently touch the side of your head, and she begins chanting, and incanting magic. It takes about a minute or so, and you can feel like warmth running through your body. It is hot where her hands are. And there is pain, but you have experienced worse pain.
Mhm.
The heat subsides. You open your eyes, you see her eyes opening as well, her runes dimming, and you can feel there's a bit of warmth on one side of your face. Not that intense heat, but just a little bit of trailing warmth. You
That
can
wasn't
see
too
her
bad.
eyes like shift from you looking at your eyes to something on your face, and she goes, "Looks good on you."
Ragnarok will smile big. Thank you. That wasn't too bad.
Not too bad at all. Now you can use it as many times as you like, but sometimes it may take a toll on you.
What is this toll?
You may feel tired, lethargic.
Okay, well that's not new.
She laughs a bit. You see her sway on her feet. It looks like she's actually about to like fall.
I'll go to catch her.
You reach a swift hand out, grab hold of her. You can see like she look on her face, her blood's a little drained from it. She looks like she was like about to faint in that moment.
Are you okay?
She, oh, I'm just um I'm fine. I just we've done a lot today. Rogo, we've done a lot today. I don't think I have it in me for more. You can see he looks at her, has like coin in his hand. Can we do one more? One more, and then I need to rest. She steadies herself. Thanks you.
I'll go off to the side, but I want to see this last person.
Cool. You can see she takes a moment to gets a little cup of water and drinks it, collects herself. As she assists the next person, you hear Rogo beginning to exclaim to everyone, now, we have plenty of gifts to go around. However, the process, as you can see, is very taxing on our dear friend Vlen here, and we wouldn't want any harm to come to her, or else we won't be able to bring these gifts to you. You hear concern in the crowd, but also a lot of come on. And he assures them, don't worry, keep an eye out for our umbrella when you see us next. Come running with your coin, and we will help you as we can. Um, Len treats the next person. You see a rune burn into their skin, and then they shake with excitement, and you can see that this person says to her, "Is it safe to use it? Can I use it now?" Absolutely. Just you can use it as many times as you'd like, but it may make you tired from time to time. And you see this person concentrate for a moment, and then they disappear in a cloud of smoke.
But I'll just kind of like nod my head as saying goodbye, and then I will attempt to cast a long strider spell.
You cast the Longstrider spell.
And then I will get low and run back to Rainier's house.
Yeah, excellent. Can you make a Constitution saving throw for me?
Of course.
You feel fine.
Perfect.
You are fast. What does Rainier get up to?
So the first day after, I guess like that afternoon, basically, um, the first thing he does is goes to a barber and gets a little bit cleaned up. Just takes some quiet time to. He's been around more people in close quarters than he really has been in several weeks, and takes some time to not have to be around people so familiarly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, and then, like, immediately upon, like, getting kind of cleaned up, like a little bit trimmed and just having recentered, he steps back to the house for a little while, leaves most of his gear behind. Like a lot of the heavy layers that he tends to wear, he leaves behind and like puts on some working clothes from like out of a storage box or something. Uh, I think he still just habitually still has the like crossbow, um, but collects some other cleaning supplies, like hard brushes and vinegar and water and some soap and things, and goes to the cemetery and just kind of lets himself in, and goes and cleans his like spends like an hour or so weeding and cleaning his parents' stones.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and then after he's spent more time there than he knows he needs to have done a satisfactory job, he packs everything up and then drops that back at the house, and then um, begins kind of this process of alternating in the next couple of days, um, doing hands-on work at the church using alchemy supplies that he has available to him to to help mitigate to create small batches of symptom mitigating aid, as well as helping negotiate people around the town. Primarily, how he is doing that is going to hotels or landlords with vacancies and such, or like getting word out to them or whatever. Um, really flexing rustic hospitality, and I will spend 50 platinum um, convincing people to let people board with them.
Very good. Also, the flex of rustic hospitality as well. Um, the the rustic hospitality works very well in Sprawling Row and Western Bastion. Um, as you head deeper into other parts of the city, the coin is really what's doing the lifting at that point.
Hmm.
As you can really feel the shift of empathy leave as other places are like, we don't have space. Oh, you are paying. Oh, okay. We just might. Um, there are some establishments that do just outright refuse.
Hmm.
You kind of get the feeling of like where it's very affluent, they will simply not allow it. Um, uh,
I think he puts in way less effort to petition them, but still makes the effort in the event that humanitarianism piques their interest even a little bit.
Yeah.
But he understands that that's like he's going to find the empathy where empathy is grown.
Yeah, exactly. You find that there's, in the more well-to-do areas of town, you do find one or two places that are like, yeah, we'll allow them in. Your hospitality and your coin do the easy talking, but other than that, as far as that side of town, your effort is better spent elsewhere. You were able to find, fair housing for roughly about like 150 people so far.
Woo!
Which it's a lot.
It's not everybody, but
there are thousands and thousands of refugees. Like it is a sea of people that is inundating the city, and you can tell, like, even the people that want to help, there is real concern even then about
it's a resource problem
yeah,
too.
like it's a resource problem. Like um Bastion has lots of farmland, and for their people, they have a bounty of food, but they were not storing food for this. So you can tell the whole city is draining resources right now, because of this.
Mhm.
But you do very good work.
Yeah, that's it. Get a couple of hours of me time, and then humanitarian aid for consecutive 48
Hell
hours.
yeah. It is the time you have, like, in the graveyard, and you've been away for a while, and they keep as much they can, the property, but their graves, they needed it a little bit
Yeah.
of extra care. And it was very nice to just have your own thoughts and then have no thoughts for a while. Your days move forward. It is the morning of the 4th. In the notice you were given, you were expected, by 10 a.m. to arrive at the Council of Bastion, to testify before the council in regards to the events of Karakara and essentially your relationship to them, what you experienced, all that kind of stuff. Is the morning of the 4th. We'll say again, everybody can meet back up at Rainier, since that seems to be like the contact place we have for everyone. Anything anybody wants to do in the morning before the council meeting?
Explain what I've learned.
Okay.
And the new mark on my face.
And there's a very visible rune that is recognizable in form, that everyone else has seen in town.
Okay, get down here. I'm gonna need to look at it.
Well, I found the rainbow umbrella.
I mean, I see that.
They're very nice people. I got the names in case we want to try and find them later.
Okay, walk around for 10 minutes and then kneel down here.
Do you want me to cast a spell first? I can cast spells now.
No, do that once I got the. You see, he's like pulling out droppers and like takes his glasses off and is like furiously droppering them.
Are
Merv,
you?
Merv, if
Hmm?
I may, you might want to try. May I take a look at that, please?
May I take a look at your head, please?
Sure.
See how
Great.
wonderful that is.
Give me about 9 minutes.
Are we really that terribly worried about these being just disseminated curses? I know we did deal with kind of an outlier, but we did deal with an outlier.
I mean, I'm not interested in in a negative way as much as I am kind of fascinated by how it works.
I see.
I mean, drink a coffee or something. This will be over quick.
Oh, I know a good place to get coffee.
Yeah, I will ritually cast Detect Magic, look at the forehead, and also tell ask Ragnarok politely to cast the spell.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I will cast Longstrider.
Okay. Before they cast the spell, there isn't like anything that clicks on your detect magic. But when they cast the spell, you see the rune alight, and you find that they are under the effects of some kind of transmutation magic.
Mm-hmm. In the moment it happened, like, can I roll an Arcana check to try to see where the power came from? We theorized before that the people themselves were the battery, but that was conjecture.
Yeah, you can roll an Arcana check.
Or be bad. That's a fucked up rune.
Um, on a 14, I mean, like, you look at it, this rune seems to, like, you don't recognize the rune, but it is certainly powering this magic.
Yeah, Merv will shrug, take a step back, say, I mean, I kind of want one now, to be honest. It looks like it just kind of kicks ass.
It seems like they're mostly giving away cantrips, but there are other spells. I saw a guy disappear in smoke, so it's not all cantrips.
I'd like that one.
Ragnarok, can you make a Constitution saving throw for me?
I still have Detect Magic on if this is a thing that's happening.
You don't, you don't, yeah, detect this part
Yeah.
of it. You feel fine.
Is this a once a day type thing or unlimited casting or?
You were informed that you could cast this as many times as you like.
But
But that there is, like, she told you that you may become lethargic from time to time.
Yeah, I will convey that to Merv as well. So it's not without its risks. Gosh, two
that's,
fives.
I mean, maybe if we see him pick
Well,
ourselves. Does it gotta be the head, or can you like?
I feel like if it wasn't just the head, then these probably would have been put on the legs. So I think it's reasonable to assume it's to the face.
I mean, I got some fucked up skin on my lower arms that ain't doing much good. Probably slap one on there.
I mean, knowing their names now make it easier to find them. And he'll look at Ember.
Ember is
Gesture
looking.
towards, excuse me.
Ember looks like she has not slept yet. She is looking rough and is not paying attention. Huh? What?
Ember, you all right? I know you were working hard, but do you need a? We got a couple hours. Do you need some time?
No. I'm good to go. Good as I'm gonna be. Use some of my use some of my strength earlier today, but we're just going to a meeting, right? we're not planning on anything bad happening.
You can go take a nap, Ember. We got like 2 hours.
No, I don't need a nap. I'm good.
I would like to specify that Rainier did offer last night, or would have offered last night to like get everyone's clothes washed if they needed, and is trying to help put people up the best they can as well. So we're not grubby uh, skunks walking into the council.
Right. Okay. If there's no other business, then you all in your non-grubby forms, as you know,
I don't
as
got that
gussied up as
version.
as gussied up as y'all can be.
I put some
Um,
fresh wraps on my lower arms so they're not like fucking dingy yellow.
Nice.
I throw your
nice.
old ones into the hearth when you're not looking.
Yeah. Like those ones are fucked up both from like the journey, like they haven't been changed since we started adventuring, so it's good to get a new
You know
set.
what? As long as we're covering it, probably during those 3 days, Cal would have gone out and bought some robes that actually fit him now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're a little taller, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So
Uh,
I'll look up whatever fine clothing is and deduct
Yeah,
that
whatever
from
the
that.
fine clothing cost is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you want extra fine, you can pay more if you want something
and
super
Cal
fancy.
does. So I'll figure
Yeah,
it out.
yeah. You can just throw if you want. You just throw an extra couple coins on there
Good.
for extra fancy. Cool. Very good. The time of your arrival approaches. You all make your way through the city and approach the Council of Bastion. Um, uh, the people around here, like, they know that the council is meeting today for something important and that they are to be making a decision and an announcement on, like, what their intentions are for Karakara. So there are already, like, a lot of people crowding around the building right now. There is not just the city guard, but militia enforced to keep a perimeter around the building for security reasons. And the crowd is swelling in with mixture of Bastion citizens and the refugees that have come here to know like what their future may be for themselves or their city. Um, you make your way through, announce yourselves, and are escorted into the council proper. You walk up a series of large stone steps with tall, thick pillars to a opening. These large, they're like steel and wooden doors, ornately carved, that are held open at the moment to allow you through. It is a very large atrium receiving area in the front. And it's uh, kind of like when you were entered into the Arcanium for the first time. There's just a lot of fucking people that work here that keep this city running. And they are going about their business.
No,
What's
sorry.
that?
Sorry, I'm not muted.
Oh, okay. Hey, Doug, when is it that you have to bounce out? I know you have to leave at some point.
Like 9:30, 9:35.
Okay.
That's
12:30 our time.
12:30
Okay, I'm
our
like,
time.
wait.
Or rather 11:30 my time.
Yeah, you're central, right? Or
Yes.
yeah.
I got 45 minutes.
Okay.
I was gonna say 45 minutes.
Cool. I just didn't know if you were saying like now that you had to leave. I just want to make sure.
No, sorry. The boyfriend was coming and asking questions, and I forgot I
Yeah.
was muted. Wasn't muted.
No worries. Cool. You enter into the large building. There's a buzz of activity in this beehive, and you are escorted up a very large set of stairs that spiral up the many floors of this building. You head up to the third floor, and you see like every on the bottom floor, the hallway that kept going is just office after office after office in this place. I mean, this is the hub of uh, the most powerful, influential, wealthy city in the country. Um, Up onto the third floor, you were brought down and escorted the length of the building until you enter a set of door. You are set in front of a set of doors with several Bastion guard and militia in front of it. You also see familiar faces. You see there is Baracus is here in attendance outside the door. Master Fettlework is in attendance. You see that his assistant Rael is not with him, and you do also see Rodor is there, and she's like uncomfortably pulling at like nice clothes that she's wearing. She looks to be not comfortable in them. But they all turn to the group of you and are their eyes and faces alight. And Rodor rushes over. Oh my god, it's been forever. How are you guys?
Aerodor.
We're better now. It somehow
Better.
got worse before it got better.
Yeah, it also could be a lot worse now than it is. So all things considered, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, we dipped into worse there for a sec, but we pulled out of it.
Well, you guys have been through a lot, so I'm not sure what there is that could slow you all down.
Death curses.
Yeah, I guess I
Yeah.
didn't see that coming, but I can see how it'd be a
See,
problem.
We didn't
Neither
either.
did we, yeah. It's kind of what happens. Death curses and astronomical debts is where we've been at. What have you been
Wow.
up to?
Getting drunk, you know.
That sounds nice.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, relax. I mean, after like everything that happened, like, I just figured time off would be the best, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm starting to get a little bored, and now there's this, and I hope they don't ask me too many questions. Um, Baracus and Fettlework greet you. Good to see all of you in fair health and good condition. Hopefully, this shouldn't take too long, but your testimony here will be very important. The council is very curious to hear your recounting of the events of Karakara. I've told them what you've told me, but hearing it from your own lips, that's important. It's important that they hear it from you. It's very exciting today. Well, the announcements that they're going to make for what support they're going to be giving for Karakara. I'm looking forward to seeing what it is that comes from today's testimony. The doors crack open a bit, and an attendant walks out to gather you all. Um, the doors open a bit more as you approach. As you are approaching, you can hear the tail end of an argument from within. The details are a little hard to make out, but what you can gather is there's an argument happening about um, the problem of trade in the city. You can see the head of there's a person, old male elf, an old half elf standing up, and his clothing and cloak at a distance. Those of you who are from Bastion can recognize the Merchants Alliance, and he seems to be up in arms and very heated about the trade disputes that they're having within the city. Um, that they're worried about the funds of the city without proper trade happening, the drain of the economy based on humanitarian efforts that are occurring, as well as that the delegate from Maras had stated that due to their own trade issues that they are tightening their shipments as well in order to make sure that they can maintain their own economy in the wake of what's happened. So you catch this person kind of losing a little bit, and as your group starts to walk in proper, you can see they like turn, take notice, and sit down in a bit of a huff. Um, as you step into this chamber, the circular chamber, there are kind of a lowered central platform in the center of it with a ornate star carving, and then in a half circle facing that, you see these five kind of podiums set up where the Council of the Bastion all sits. Flanking each of them are a series of attendants, assistants, and whatnot. Surrounding the room are members of the Bastion militia. The doors close behind you, and you see at each podium there's a little placard with the name of the person as well as their position on the council. You see for the Merchants Alliance, their name is I will copy and paste each of this into the chat for those of you that care for that thing. This is Imrodel Elenenth for the Merchants Alliance. As I said, a kind of older male half elf, short, wavy gray hair, blue eyes, has kind of a rough, chocolatey looking skin, tall, roundish build, a slightly pockmarked face. You see the head of the Slayer's stronghold, which is a very young, not very young, but a young half orc warrior. That is Mirabella Twarb. She has cropped, wavy, auburn hair, shaved on the left-hand side, smooth, light green skin with visible scars on her face and her arms. She's almost 7 foot tall and jacked. She has kind of an edgy face with little like tiny tusks that peek out from her bottom lip. You see for the Arcanium, Grandmaster Finthril Merthar. That is a very old male high elf. Short silvered hair, shaved on both sides. Has a kind of bluish skin to him. Very lithe, thin build as you would expect from an elf. Square face, beautiful to look at. You see next to him a person that Rainier you recognize. This is Faley Greybelt, a middle-aged dwarven man with bald head, black eyes, tall for a dwarf, rotund a bit. He looks, he's gained on weight since you've seen him last. but you know him as the Lawmaster. He's commander of the militia. Has a angular kind of face with a gigantic braided handlebar mustache. And you all see the last figure, who you all recognize, Mr. Terwin Redstream, who is the voice on the council. Um, Middle-aged human male, cropped black hair, blue eyes, soft white skin, um, kind of a blandish looking face, but kind eyes. They seat with their attendants as you all walk in. You hear the doors are closing behind you with a rumble of stone, and you are looking kind of upward at them. There's a moment of silence as they just kind of regard each of you for a moment. The voice speaks up. I welcome you all to this meeting of the Council of Bastion. If you would do us the honor of introducing yourselves so we all may be on the same page here. And they ask each person down the line who's in attendance in your group to introduce yourselves. You all do. Now, I'd had the pleasure of meeting these fine folks several days previous to this. They made a great impression on me. I look forward to hearing your accounting of what happened in Karakara. Then the council then asks for you all to essentially recount all the events that like led you to Karakara, what happened while you were there, what your relationship to Umeli is, what it was, if there was any to begin with. Some of their questions are scrutinizing. They want to get a sense for who you are as people and should your accounts be trusted, as you're the only eyewitnesses. Is this all the information that is available? Is there anything that you guys like? You've told everything to Baracus and he's related, but is there anything that you guys hold back or don't say to the council?
Merv is blathing all of it. Also, I would request to approach like whoever can give stuff up to the bench to give
There's
to Finithril.
Yeah, there's an attendant if you want to like, hey, I have evidence and this and that.
Yeah, it's Merv had for the voice. Because I offered to give it to him when we were talking to him, but to give an accounting of everything that happened, but also Merv's notes about ancient arcana stuff and the kind of like background details of what he's like since learned about the magic of that kind of stuff. In addition to like the packet that has his notes about the magical ailment. And I know that the Finithril is probably the best suited, so just give it directly to Finithril.
Okay, very good. You see that he begins to look over the notes as a further testimony and whatnot as you explain what it is and whatnot. He looks over a bit of it, flipping from page to page. You can see he's reading, skimming, stopping, looking at you, continuing on. Uh, Sets the pages aside, looks to you and says, "This is very fine work."
Merv tilts his hat forward. It has come at some unfortunately substantial cost, as you've seen. ain't worth it, in my opinion. But
From what I gather, this council here owes you all quite a debt. Although, I don't know that anyone could have stopped what happened in Karakara. You tried. And that is more than most would. You entered into realms beyond imagining, facing dangers likely to take your very lives, and in some cases, they did.
Merv will like raise a hand.
You
As
know,
the last one standing, and also the last person to talk to Melly. She, number one, did not expect the outcome of whatever it is that had happened. Whether that is because she was not well informed or because we stopped whatever was supposed to actually happen. There's really no way to know whether we averted something worse or... Suffice to say, she did not fully get what she wanted from it, but she was not fully displeased with the results.
it is troublesome what has happened. It is troublesome that she was able to somehow gain hold of one of the soul siphon crystals. Its destruction is lamentable. There are only two in existence. One at the Arcanium. The other was held in the care of a collector. Our reports inform us that that collector has been dead for several months. You see that the lawmaster leans forward a bit. You there. Step forward, please. And he's gesturing towards you, Rainier.
I do so.
You can see he kind of leans and squints a bit. Stands up from his chair, takes a few steps down towards you, and is about 10 feet away. Gets a real look at you. And you see a smile come across his face. I'll be damned if it isn't the hero of Wellsworth. In the flesh.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. You look surprisingly well.
Had some good luck.
He kind of looks around at the group of you. You know, when I first heard tale of what happened, I'll be the one to say it, I didn't trust any of it. I figured the only reason you walked away is because Umeli let you, that you were working with her in some way. Though, that's my job, is to be suspicious of everything. How else can I protect this city if I don't look for dangers under every rock? But seeing that one of our very own was amongst you, I know this one would not be turned, would not betray the great city of Bastion. I believe your tale. I agree with the head of the Arcanium. This council does owe you all a great debt. You have saved many lives, though it may not feel like it. Your expertise in these matters will be important in the days to come. That we will assure you. This world is changing. We'll need people of your caliber and honor. He looks at you again, Rainier, gives you a nod of respect, and then heads back and takes his seat. You're able to step back in line.
Yeah, I match the nod and step back.
Yeah. The head of the Merchants Alliance steps up and says, well, this is all very good, but the problem still remains that Karakara was an entire city of its own, and although most of the people have come down here, some still remain. Maybe it's possible that trade could be re-established in time. If we can somehow get the river's water level high enough to send ships back north, perhaps we can get caravans running. You see, the head of the Arcanium raises their hand and says, well, the problem with that, of course, is not all those in Karakara are safe. We've all heard the reports. We have the testimony here, the evidence here. There's disease. There's something wrong with these refugees. Not all, but something is spreading amongst them. And we cannot allow that to be within our city. If it becomes an epidemic or pandemic, perhaps it sweeps the entire nation. Then what? Trade is the least of our worries at the moment. You see the voice stands and says, well, I thank you all for your testimony today. We will take the information you've given us. We'll make our decisions shortly. You've done a good thing for the city of Bastion, and for the entire country of Adara. He gives you a bow, and an attendant opens the door and then ushers you all to leave as the council makes their vote and decision. The doors close behind you. You see Baracus and Fettlework all like collectively let out a sigh of relief as the events have come to an end. Oh, well, that took that took a while. Okay. Everyone doing all right?
Have any of the groups? I know the temple has been working hard on curing this disease, but have any of the other groups been looking into a way to stop it instead of just treating it?
Well, from what we've gathered so far, and the information that I know at the very least, representatives from some of the temples have met with the council. They've provided what information they can. This information you've given Merv, I'm sure will be very useful in the days to come. As to the specific answer of that, I don't know. I mean, things are moving very quickly at this moment. My understanding is the affliction that's occurring is being held at bay as best can, but there's simply too many people at this point. There's a real worry that it may begin affecting the greater population. But rest assured, we will find a way to help these people.
To that end, I know it's but a drop in the bucket, but I have started an aid organization whose primary goal at this point will simply be to raise funds for such efforts. I figure the primary focus should probably be dealing with this illness, figuring out what it is and how to stop it.
I mean, first things first, you calling it an illness, that ain't it. It is a series of intelligent things that are spreading.
Well,
And we can
that
work in
may
concert when there's enough of them.
that may in fact be what it is, Merv. But in terms of trying to keep panic amongst the population down to a minimum, I think we might not want to focus on the fact that it is a contingent of intelligent beings that are working together to infect these people.
And that sounds worse.
I mean, it is, but I'm not necessarily talking about what they tell the public.
Hmm.
Those who in the know who are actually trying to do anything about it. Like,
Oh, well, that's, yeah, understood. Well, that's you and the scientists and the religious folk and whatnot. I can't really help in any of those ways. I can be a pretty face and raise some money.
Well, with your family's pedigree behind you, I'm sure your endeavor will work out just fine.
Well, I'll show my father, whose name has a good reputation in this town.
You all wait for a few moments. Sorry, you wait for a few minutes outside. Um, uh, a representative comes out of the building and says to you, "The council will be finishing their vote soon, and they'll be making an announcement to the entire city. If you all would like to head downstairs, you can be in attendance for it. I have a space for you."
Wonderful.
They lead you down the stairs back to the central area, out onto the stone steps, and there's like a section for like it's not VIP, but it's like important guests of the council, right? Um, uh, on the stairs off to the side, um, and you can see like they're setting up a little podium as there. There is a swell of a crowd here now. Like it is just the streets are just seas of people stretching as far as you can see. There are many militia members, many guard members here, just trying to maintain order. Nothing like nobody's. There's not a riot or anything happening, but you can just see there's like a larger presence. But there's so many citizens out here right now. Um, about 5 minutes later, you see you can hear the boots collectively walking as the escort of the council makes their way down. The council steps onto the stairs, and then the voice himself steps up to the podium, looks out, just kind of takes in the crowd, raises a hand and the crowd begins to quiet. You can see from your angle, he presses his hand on a little arcane symbol on the podium that begins to alight, and his voice emanates loudly. And he addresses the crowd here. My dear brothers and sisters of Bastion, our guests from Karakara. Now, I know that each of you all is scared about the future, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel the same trepidations as you. But it is within these dark and uncertain times that bold action must be taken to protect not only the citizens of Bastion, but our allies to the north and our sister city, and our allies to the west as well. In order to keep Bastion safe and to give you all the care you deserve, effective immediately, all Karakaran refugees must report to the garrison at the northern gates, where we'll be establishing temporary housing and medical facilities. Violators of this order will be subject to the Bastion Criminal Code and be reprimanded to the care of the city guard. In addition, it is the order of this council that we shall be sending a substantial portion of our militia to assist our ally in the north. We shall be liaising with the Arcanium to provide research stations to help understand the clear and present danger that this monolith represents, not just to those that chose to remain in Karakara, but to all the citizens of Adare. These combined forces shall be critical in providing security and aid to what remains of Karakara, in addition to establishing a necessary quarantine zone. Now, I know, but these efforts are to protect not only Bastionites, to protect Maraus, Karakara, and everyone in our great nation of Adare. There is an eruption from the crowd. There are cheers. There are wails of concern. And the crowd itself begins to move and yell, raise hands, chant. The council, the voice, holds his hand, waves and smiles. The feeling in the crowd is not dangerous, but it is just unknown. But there's a lot of people that feel at ease. Council turns, heads back into the building. The podium is pulled back in. The guards and militia begin to slowly disperse the crowd. And you can see militia forces making their way up to the northern part of the city.
Do I see any journalists around?
Journalists?
Mm-hmm.
Roll for journalism. Can I get a journalism roll, please? Yeah, you sure do.
Great. I would like to make my way over there. And inform them that I and my friends testified in front of the council about what had occurred in Karakara as eyewitnesses, that I too, much like the voice, believe that bold action must be taken to assure the safety of citizens both of Bastion and of Karakara. And that is why I have started the Kalawunax Clef Tinthialar Karakara Care Consortium, accepting donations
God.
immediately to focus on what the voice had not mentioned, which is a cure for the affliction facing some of the citizens of Karakara, so that the quarantine can be over as quickly as possible.
He says to you, what affliction specifically? I've heard rumors.
Well, if I knew specifically, I would certainly tell you, but I am no doctor, and I am no
Are you
priest.
saying that the refugees of Karakara all carry disease with them? That's the reason
No.
for the quarantine.
No, I am not saying that, and in fact, I did not say that. I said some of them are ill, and the voice, as a precaution, has announced that the council has decided to quarantine everyone so that it does not become a larger issue. Now, whether or not that is correct, I can't really say. I am not an expert in public policy. All I know is that some of these poor individuals, well, all of these poor individuals are refugees. They have lost their homes. Some of these poor individuals, as you could imagine, right, have become ill. Some on the trip down here, some while they were here, some perhaps before they left. Why that is, I will leave that up to the medical experts, right? But I don't have to be a medical expert to know that they need assistance. And the sooner we get them that assistance, and the sooner we address the medical issue, the sooner this concern about them being in our city will be over. And that is why, accepting donations immediately, the Kalawunax Clef Tinthialar Karakara Care Consortium is open for business.
Can you please type that in the chat? I love the name of that. He nods. He's like been furiously taking notes about this, and says, "Is your He recognizes like your family name, and he asks if your father has any statement to make on this as well.
Well, you will have to ask my father, for he is not involved directly in any way, shape, or form. So whatever comments he has are his own, but the Cletinthialars will not fail Bastion, and I will not fail Bastion. We would be happy to accept any donation that my mother or father would like to make to help those refugees that are not as fortunate as we are, and to show everyone the great pride that we have in the city of Bastion.
Excellent. He asks for your name, information on where he can like contact you for follow up.
Yeah, I give him my name, and I absolutely give him Rainier's address.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Fuck.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah. He has like a bright, zealous look in his eyes after this interview. God, the alliteration on this consortium is so good.
It's quintuple C, baby.
Hell yeah.
Poignant. Potent.
I'm very impressed.
You begin to see, the crowd is dispersing, slowly. But you're beginning to see like people heading towards the northern gates. Carrying things on their back. You see a lot of the refugees. You see the city guard and militia are like kind of mobilizing to assist these people in getting where they need to go. Baracus and Fettlework head back to the Arcanium. Rodor heads out, says if you need her for anything, just head to the Gilded Mug. She's usually drinking there. And you all are left to your own devices.
How we feeling?
Like I could use a drink.
Like I probably could have spent my time better.
I mean, you were helping people, weren't you?
Yeah, not here though. I don't feel like they really listened. I mean, they did. They heard us and they're gonna help and all of that is good, but I don't know, I don't feel like I did anything here. What
Well,
what do we got
what-
next on the agenda?
What
They
would you
didn't-
have had them done, Ember Prime?
No, I'm saying I didn't need to be here. Everything that they could have done is fine, but I didn't.
Mm.
My input didn't help. Like,
I see.
what's the plan? What do we got? What are we doing?
We need to get you rest.
Fine, just been up to my elbows in sick people.
So you need rest.
We got a
To you-
plan. What are we doing?
To your question, reckon it's a matter of what we feel like. Like, what's our priorities? We want to do some missions to get some gold. We want to start going after her.
There is the present and reasonably near threat of a dragon in the fields, and those are going to become important territory, even more so now than ever.
Even closer, there's these cave dwellers that we can take out. That could also free up some land, maybe. Cave fishers, excuse me.
Like I said, that it's split between two different things to do. Sure, we could stay here. We can do jobs, accrue resources, help the locals with their killing jobs like Dragon, or we leave and we get back on the investigation.
Do we have a
Oh,
lead?
we don't have a lead, do we?
There's Karakara as a start.
I don't know that that's a start.
It is, in fact, the only start.
I think it might be a dead end.
I think if we were to find a lead, we'd have to speak with the Arcanium, because Umeli did come from the Arcanium. She got her knowledge from somewheres. I don't think we're going to find anything else in Karakar, or else she would have taken it or used it. Could spend some time, maybe more time here, see if there's any resources she may have had at the Arcanium that would actually point us in a direction. But truly, I do not think Karakar will take us anywhere we haven't already been.
To be fair, we haven't been to Karakara since a giant spire came up through the ground.
But I mean, unless you think that the spire coming through the ground is going to tell us where to go next, what's going to have changed? Melly's not there. I
I
don't
mean,
think there's anything that points to where she is. I think we're better off trying to figure out. We know there are more monoliths,
Well,
right?
Dom is still there. We could have him look for whatever we want to look for.
Pretty clever.
also, our brains got new knowledge now. Knowledge we weren't able to look at the monolith the first time when we saw it with. Do we think the monoliths are connected to each other? Talking somehow?
Yeah, I mean, I guess Merv is right. If we want firsthand experience with a monolith, Karakara is our only bet, but
But that's if that's what we want. I think we would save ourselves more time if we were to see if there's any other direction we can head that would point us towards one that is unrested and find it first. Beat her to it. I think going over her own tracks is only just going to keep us at her rear.
As another point in favor of Karakara, might tell us something about the goo worms.
I'm pretty sure that's just something that is akin to that security system we spoke to. Behaves like it, looks like it. For all intents and purposes, I'm fairly certain it is exactly that.
If you're saying it is that, it isn't. That I can confirm.
You are absolutely certain it is in no way safeguard or something in a close approximation to.
What you said was that it's the same as safeguard, and it ain't. It may be something that looks similar from a distance, but it ain't the same. I got an inert one of safeguards things. I compared them, and they ain't the same. They don't even really work the same. They don't interface with the person they're stuck to the same. And also, each individual one of them wasn't its own intelligence necessarily. It was just a little thing that Safeguard talked to him through. Which, as I say that, if that is what these are, then there is something directing them.
That's sort of what I mean, is that this material, whatever it is behaving in its intention and through its infestation pretty damn close.
Then you're arguing we do go to Karakara and we stop the source of the thing. If you're saying it's like
I'm not,
Safeguard.
because I don't think that we met something on the road that told us that things were going to be coming from other planes. I cannot fathom that whatever has appeared in Karakarans is anything short of the first invaders. And I do not think that it would be in Karakara. I think it is elsewhere.
Might I make a suggestion? Sounds like there's many good options about what to do next, and we just don't rightly know at this moment.
Hmm.
However, what we do know is that the voice just pushed all of the refugees of Karakara out into the fields, and that somewhere out in those fields there is a dragon. At the very least, we need to inform the militia about this, and perhaps, as Ragnarok has pointed out, we should just go take care of it ourselves, so that we can collect the bounty. And of course, make things safer for the refugees. While we're doing that, or preparing to do that, or recovering from doing that, we can do some research in town as to what the next best step is.
I personally agree with that completely.
I mean, Merv, I personally, I'm excited to get back to Karakara, although I've got a different intent than has been mentioned, and that is simply, we heard while we were being interviewed by the council that Karakara is currently very dangerous, and Dom is still there.
That's fair. I think before we do anything else, we should. Fuck, he's not still around here, is he? Turn and look for like Baracus as we're walking.
He left.
Yeah, they had left.
We should be asking them where else Umeli went.
I
I
can
like
see if
that.
she left any of her research here. Ask them to collect it for us. See if any of it means anything with this new knowledge in our brains.
True, but more directly to Rainier's point, anywhere she would have set up station for long enough.
Yeah, I meant
Probably
stuff
forward.
here, since someone pointed out she was from the Arcanium. Maybe she left stuff here.
What I'm saying is we look for not the material she left here, although that is, yeah, if she left anything
I mean,
behind.
if it has the
Well-
locations of the monoliths, that's pretty crucial.
If it doesn't, it has a different kind of information, which is she was using Arcanium resources as far as we could tell, right?
Agreed.
That means wherever she set up base camps, I had to be near. Wherever she set up camps for any permanent amount of time had to be somewhere nearby. Maybe not directly over it, maybe not like the base camp at the one at Karakara, but she needed places to set up and set equipment up and look at stuff. Probably at least, I don't know, several. I don't know how many of these fucking things there are. So you find the paper trail of where she ordered what and such and such. You look
Why do I
for the
feel
more
like she said there
specialized
were
shit, the better.
3? Maybe I'm just misremembering.
I don't remember a fine detail, but
Amber, do you want to make an intelligence check?
Sure. I'm good at these.
Yeah. 9.
Would you like an
Um,
inspiration?
I mean, I have no mod to this, but sure, I'll
Right, it's a
see
coin
if I
flip.
can beat a 9. I
Hey,
can beat a 9,
we
but
can beat
only
a 9.
marginally.
13's better. Uh, you you guys have been, you're hashing stuff out, right? Working out what to do, what to consider, what's a good plan. Um, and you're thinking about these monoliths. And you're trying to rack your mind of like, did she say there are more monoliths? And you recall with a certainty, um, there's no mention of more than one monolith. As far as Umeli knows, there is only one.
I I just had a thought. Um, it's kind of a complicated thought, and I beg everybody's pardon. I'm going to start sprinting towards the ferry. I'm going to try, like, it wasn't very long ago we split up from Baracus. I need to try to catch him.
Yeah. Um.
I'm just
uh.
hoofing it.
Yeah, hooping it. Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. Roll D100.
Okay.
He is on the ferry. Him and Fettel work. The ferry is like 20 feet into the water right now.
Fuck.
Hold
Oh, I'm
on.
so fucking tired. Mhm.
Do you need to see them?
Yeah.
Vortex warp.
Well, we'll meet you over there. I was planning to go fucking hit the books for the rest of the day, so you can't even fucking hear me. Who am I even talking to?
Rainier is you suddenly appear on the ship. There's a little bit of a like you fall slightly due to the angle of like not exactly sure where the ground is, just like an inch or two as you settle in.
I'm still just like panting, hands on knees.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone nearby like turns and looks and is like, they're surprised that there's a new person here suddenly. You
Mhm.
hear Baracus' voice go, "I didn't think you had magic in you."
Not that kind. Okay. Whew, and I get upright. All right. Um, how long has Umeli been a member of the Arcanium?
Um, well, I mean, she's technically not a member of the Arcanium as of 10 or so years. But she was recruited as a child. She was actually the Arcanium, as a rule, generally does not recruit children, but she was an exception.
And how long ago was that?
Oh, I mean, for her, I mean, she spent her life with the Arcanium. I mean, 40, 45 years? Maybe longer? It's impolite to ask a lady her age.
I mean, sure, but a record for what year she was brought in, inducted, and what year she may have gotten a I don't know, some certification for authorization of professional research under her own. I'm winded. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I get what you're saying here. Records of hers. Yeah, we can look into it. I mean, I don't know the specifics of it. I mean, all I can tell you is, I mean, she's been with the Arcanium for, I mean, all her life. I mean, she taught me. And that was a while ago, but not too long ago, of course.
And how long ago were you starting to feel she was in a weird direction.
Um, well, I mean, there are always sort of signs that, she was passed over, when she was younger. She used to be an important person in the city, and then she wasn't. And she was very bitter about that, and that came up from time to time. Her anger and bitterness at the city here and certain families in the city, and occasionally she'd lose her temper. She was a good instructor otherwise, but she had a mean streak to her. Sometimes concerning.
And when did you get the inclination she started working with ancient artifacts?
Oh, I mean, she was already deep into field research by the time that I came under her tutelage.
Is there records of her field research? Her
Um,
locations?
yeah, there should be. I am. It's funny you're asking this. I'd recently sent Rael to home to Finrithral. Uh, we have an old research station there, and Umeli spent a significant amount of time. And I had actually just been thinking of where places that she's been, and maybe that might give us insight. I mentioned this to Ragnarok. Did he not tell you?
I don't think he did.
Oh, I'd ask if he had time to escort Rael, but unfortunately he didn't. I mean, it would have taken him away from the city for weeks, perhaps. So I understand why.
I'd do well to either stay in touch with him or follow after him, try to catch up so he stays safe. He did tell you he did get kidnapped.
Right. Hence my asking for an escort. But I was able to find someone since Ragnarok wasn't able to.
Who was that?
Oh, just an old friend of mine here.
All right. When we get there and I pay the ferry, since I have Stowaway, uh, I, would I be, or maybe you, if I'm not, be able to access any notes on any of Umeli's field research? Because I think there might be some places that I've heard of her being, or maybe something where she might have been that might get us some leads.
Sure, sure. He turns and like looks back at the other end of the harbor from where you came. Are your friends gonna take the next one?
I don't know.
Oh,
I feel bad
well,
about that. Was she? Sorry to keep asking questions. What was her? What school of magic did you find that she had a high affinity for?
oh, well. I mean, obviously there's her hands, but that's an entirely different thing altogether. That's I mean, that's the reason why she was recruited in the first place. There's never been anyone, and as far as we're aware, that can conjure more than one uh, spectral hand, as it is. For her to have so many is, well, I mean, it's an incredible thing to see. Besides that, I mean, she's quite skilled in evocation, enchantment as well. Not to the same degree I can. More the well, I mean, you saw what she's done to the devil in our basement. I mean, she set
That was
that.
her.
Yes. Saved my life when she did it. Kind of my fault the thing is here. She set that enchantment up in only a few minutes. And if you know anything about magic, that's almost impossible. She was gifted. She still is gifted. Come. Do you have a way of messaging your friends?
I do not. I look back at the shore.
Okay. All right. We'll.
Smash cut to. Is there 2 fairies or just 1? There's probably a second one coming, right? Like they
Yeah,
can't just-
there's already another fairy that's just like there. Got a lot of people come and go
Yeah, I'm getting on.
from. All right, everybody loads into a second fairy, follows over.
Just
Everyone.
based on how grumpy Merv is, I'm not going to do it, but just based on how grumpy Merv is, I'm very tempted that when the other ferry is passing in the other direction, going back to the other shore, to vortex warp Merv onto that other ferry. So he's now going in the wrong direction.
Set up a tent.
Oh, Christ. You end up you end up in Southern Bastion, and Baracus can with his escort can lead you into where there are records of research that's been done, and records regarding Umeli and her time at the Arcanium.
This is
You
such a long shot, but I'm looking for
Yeah.
something very specific.
Okay, yeah. What are you looking for here?
I am looking for if she ever did field research in the fens and bog around Wellsworth.
On Wellsworth, yeah. Um, Looking over the records, and there are the records you find of her, and I don't like specific years for this, but you do find um, there's a note in files related to her, like she was recruited from a family that lived in the outskirts of Bastion, and she's came from a simple farming village. That at a young age she manifested arcane control over like elementals, not elementals, but like was able to control fire and water. Simple cantrips at a very young age. Um, and when the Arcanium came to see about that, she showed great aptitude, but also showed what she had like hidden, which is the summoning of 9 mage hands altogether. So the Arcanium immediately recruited her, and by recruited, paid her parents a significant amount of money, um, and took her and raised her, tutored her at the Arcanium. Um, oh, excuse me. She prodigy in any arcane schooling she was applied to. Oh, excuse me. She was nailing it, right? Like she's graduating classes as a 10-year-old that people are spending their lives with, right? And she's showed early fascination with um the histories of what came before, the little pieces and relics of the old world. She always was fascinated with, and that became like her general pursuit, is trying to understand that more. You find records that also corroborate stories that you heard from Cal's mom, that for a period of years when she like came of age as a woman, as a young woman in her late teens, early 20s. She was a socialite for a few years before returning to the um, Arcanium and like living there, and then just teaching, and not that part of her life seems to like end abruptly. Um, a lot of field research out in the ruins of Finlanora. She showed great interest in the Moon Temple there. She had done research in Maras, in the outskirts there. You know that she's done research like basically like in the upper plains.
Yeah.
You would come across a time where she was at a location, and like obliterated and defended the place, but like defended it violently, with great power. Um, and sometime in Karakara as well. The last bits of research notes before she was ostensibly kicked out of the Arcanium for behavioral issues and differences in opinion. Um, uh, Her last research was happening around Karakara, in the crooked into the Crooked Hills. Um, she apparently got into a very significant disagreement with the head of the Arcanium, the current head of the Arcanium, when many years ago, and she was essentially like banished from the Arcanium for whatever transpired at that point. Um, in those records, there's no record of the demon event occurring in the basement. There's nothing about that specifically.
Okay. Good. Okay. All right. Great. All right.
I don't know how much this helps. I mean, as I said, she did a lot of field research. She taught for a bit, but hated it. I think the only reason that she tolerated me as her apprentice is because she saved my life, and I was indebted to her.
I mean, this still helps, I think. There's a witch in the Crooked Hills she might have been speaking to. And if you sent Rial to Finlanora, I think that actually puts us on a path that we should concern ourselves with.
Hmm. Well, his family's from there. Their royalty's not the right word, because their society doesn't really work that way anymore, but his family's important. He'll be able to look around, gather information.
Hopefully we can speak with him soon. We might be considering some local work for the community for a little bit.
Oh, good, good. Lathander knows that we need it.
Question, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
In looking through the records, is there any? So, is the Arcanum a place that keeps track of like requests that are denied? Like, you asked for this, no, we're not going to give resources to that.
It doesn't appear to be. It appears if something like is like if like resources are allocated to a thing that is they keep some record of that. Some things are like one-off lines that like this thing like field research began at this place with these people. And then if like nothing occurs, a line later saying like no, no progress, that sort of thing. So some records are detailed, some are not as detailed. What is it you're looking for?
Specifically, when Umeli started to have behavioral problems, as they put it, or conduct that was not in line.
That sort of thing, yeah.
Well, specifically the requests she was making during that time, the things she was asking them for, that they were probably like, "That's fucking stupid. No, we're not
Yeah.
going to do that." Like the outlandish requests she started to make of them once she realized what Ancient Arcana was, probably, and started to make her initial moves before cutting full ties and fucking off.
Um, you gather it's not so much what's in the documentation, but some of the staff here in the records, um, and information that like Baracus knows, and information that Fettlework knows as well. Since you're asking, like you're directly
Mhm.
asking these questions. Um, so stuff that wouldn't be in the records is um, she wanted to have access to um, what were called soul siphons, which
Yeah.
is the name given to it's a the description of it is exactly the large purple crystal she was using to empower the monolith. Um, they are uh, they're not artifacts of the old world, but they are considered artifacts in their significance. Um, there are only two of them in existence, as far as the Arcanium is aware. One of them is in the Arcanium, in storage, and another one was held by a collector who you were informed
Yep.
had died. Those crystals. Access is very restricted to them because of their immense potential. It's also found that um, they can be unstable if you don't know what it is that you're doing, because they are drawing energy from another plane of existence. And they don't know what it draws that energy from, but they just know that it you can use these things to channel large amounts of power, but it is inherently dangerous to use these things. So the Arcanium, even they don't fuck with it. Um, so she had asked about like had gotten access to it, um, but further requests were denied from it. You get the sensation that that's part of the reason why she was kicked out.
Yeah.
Is dealing with that sort of that is part of the concurrence that happened.
Gotcha. I guess another question also is, did she request any like historical records about, let's say, Karakara? Like
Um,
looking for historical records of places like as far back as, the current society's records would extend.
there's record of her like taking maps,
Mhm.
like maps, the old maps. They weren't recent ones,
Yeah.
but older maps from Karakara and like the northern region.
So the two places are Karakara and the northern region, meaning up in the snow parts.
The northern region meaning like the whole of Karakara. Like if there's a map that can like
Yeah.
had like yeah Karakara, the surrounding lands, the crooked hills
Mhm.
around it, right? Like even the far including the forest. Like she was interested in that information for sure.
Got it. but no other requests for map. So like that establishing, like, okay, there's the only link we really have for her for Karakar being on her like radar. Is there any other places she got that degree of maps about?
Um, yes. Yes. You find that there is a request for that she had also checked out maps related to the Dread Lookout.
Dread Lookout. Is that over on the coast?
It is
there?
across the
Mm,
sea, on another coastline, underneath to the south of the Shadowfire. Um, Metalwork actually speaks up when these records are found and says, "Oh yes, I remember. I I took her there. She was wondering about the old research station that we keep there. It doesn't get used very often. About once every 20, 30 years, a couple students get in their mind to see if they're going to be the ones to find something, but nobody ever does. Well, I did, but nobody after me."
all right. I'll look over at at Rainer and be like, other than like if you could give us a map of where all the facilities are, just as a general. Like you say that's one facility that people don't use very often. The one up
As
in
far
Finlanora, right?
We have one in Finland, although in the last 5 years, the relationship has soured a bit. They're currently not allowing research actively from the Arcanium, which is why we sent Rael with his family and connections. He, may be able to smooth things out a bit for us. But in terms of, I mean, if you're looking for every research station, I mean, you're talking about a lot of them. The Arcanium has small outposts all over the place. Some in use, some not in use. Um, that's sort of a needle in a haystack you're asking for.
I mean, I'd take just the ones not in use.
They begin kind of scraping together what they can for you as far as that goes.
Yeah, I don't need that actively, but that's kind of a pocket back of the pocket thing for if it becomes relevant later.
Yeah.
Like I know it's not going to be like this is the magic map with all of the quest locations as much as it is like maybe later we'll have some other information to cross reference with this map
Yeah.
and put something together.
Yeah.
I do apologize for the perceived urgency of my request, but thank you for all this. This is actually still very helpful to us, I think.
Um, no, you're very welcome. It's a good idea, one that we should have done earlier to sort of ground ourselves. It's a shame that I wish we could just see what she's doing. Maybe get an idea of where she is.
I mean, do you got magic? But have you tried magic to do that?
Hmm. Oh, yes. We've had our diviners looking after her since we arrived, since you came back to the city, every time it's like she's not there. There's only one thing I'm aware of that can do that. It's a special kind of amulet. Protects people from looking in on you.
Yep, that figures.
The trouble with hunting a wizard, they know what other wizards do. But I'm sure you all have your hands full with other matters at the moment.
Yeah, my apologies, everyone.
If you do find anything, any other leads relating to her, do let me know. I will obviously do the same. Ragnarok also asked if I had any work available. Um, at the time, there was just concern over, the meeting with the council today. But now that that is over, um, I do have a few strange reports I could use your assistance in looking into.
Sure.
Well, there's there's a city to the south, small village, outside the skirts of what Bastion would normally look into and take care of. But word has made its way to me that these people have been seeing people made of rocks.
People made of what now?
People made
Wait,
of
I'm not there. Hold
rocks.
on. Oh, wait, we did get there.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
People made of rocks. They seem to be searching the area around the town for something. Now, rock people is, well, I mean, there's elementals, but they're sort of wild, if you ever run across one. And that's not normal to run across them in this area. Also, they've attacked some of the townsfolk. Now, the militia is busy. And I'm afraid a lot of odd events like this, they're, well, not going to be able to help us. And that's why I need you all, my experts in the unknown.
What's the pay?
Hmm.
Magic items will also suffice.
Another thing that would suffice is if you could tell us anything about Shadow Merv here that we've all seemed to have forgotten about.
I mean, he's fine.
Honestly, you're right. I've just been so used to it
I know.
that
He ain't
It-
doing nothing.
you know what's crazy? That the council didn't even say anything about it.
Not a word.
I mean, the guards should have been like, "Who's this shadow man here? What's this intangible creature?"
It's fine. I gave him a pep talk he didn't listen to because he doesn't have ears or a brain with which to process it. And then he
I
decided
am
he's
more
gonna
than a
say,
little
"Look,
concerned about how this is fine.
Yeah, this is perhaps the one instance of a very strange and upsetting occurrence existing that Merv has not stuck a knife into, for lack of a better term.
I mean, I figured him out pretty well. He's just there, like he can't really exert any effect over anything.
don't know that that qualifies as figuring it out. That's just sort of letting it go.
I mean, I know loosely what it can do, which is not very much, or really much of anything at all.
I would love to know what it does personally.
I mean, do you want to like look at it? You might not got the right brain parts for it.
What sort of brain parts do you think I have?
Kind of lets you understand about ciphers and goo lakes.
What's a
Monolith.
goulet?
No, it's a goo lake.
Oh,
It came
you
from
know,
Goulet.
Robert Goulet.
When we found him, he was like a part of a lake that was just made up of nothing but him.
I gotta say, it doesn't make it any clearer. It sounds even stranger now.
I mean, in my professional opinion at this point on ancient kind of magic stuff, it's all inscrutable, and you're not going to get the answers for why the fuck they did it like that or they made it like that. It just is what it does, and you gotta just accept it.
Well, that's possible, but it is also the case that the Arcanium has more resources as far as understanding anything than any of us have ever had at any point in our life.
Maybe for modern day stuff.
Just saying, you can take their help, Merv.
I mean, you're welcome to look at it and tell me what I already know. Here, I'll get a stool. You can go get like, what's gonna take, like 5 of you? Get some interns in here. You can make a whole class of it. I'll write down on my sheet of paper what I think it does. I ain't gonna tell it to you. And then once you figure out what I already know, then I'll meet y'all back at the house.
Fettelwerk looks at you, Mervyn says, I don't need interns to help me figure things out. I bet I could figure out this thing in less than 2 hours.
What you bet?
If I figure it out, then you explain to me how this weird little cauldron works. If I don't figure it out, I'll explain to you how my golems work.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm very curious. All right. Well, I'm good here, guys. I'll meet you back at the house.
You hear Baracus say, before you all go, we all know the council is working towards quarantining Karakar. Part of the reason they're doing that is because they don't know what the monolith is or what it does, and they need more information. They don't know how dangerous it is. We all know that it is dangerous. But in part of this, they're going to be offering more support for our department here. So, you ask for money. Money I could do. If you want to look into this thing for me, I believe it could be dangerous based on preliminary reports. So I want to make it worth your while. For this job, I'll pay the group of you 1,000 up front and 500 on completion. Gold, that is. Does that sound fair?
More than so.
Your time is valuable. I understand that. You have many interests. I just want to respect that. Now, there's no great urgency for this other than that these town folks are in danger, could use help, and we would like to know what is happening sooner rather than later. But if you have other business to attend to, which I'm sure you do, you're welcome to do whatever you like.
We'll take time to consider.
Very well. Just stop by before you go, and I'll give you the rest of the details.
Thank you for your time and your resources.
You know, it is refreshing to hear that someone in your station is concerned about the well-being of the people. As such, I think you'd be the perfect individual to bring up the possibility of the Arcanium making a donation to the Karakara Care Consortium. We too are concerned. No need to remark on it now. I look forward to hearing your decision after you've had time to consider.
I'll have our people call your people.
Wonderful.
Amazing. Amazing. Cody, just for you, I'm gonna have Feta work roll to see if you can figure out what this fucking thing is. I will roll it in public for Mr. Fetterwork.
Look, at this point, Merv genuinely wants to see how Fettlework goes about figuring this out, and that is itself a reward. Because he has no fucking clue how Fettlework is even going to begin to approach this thing.
Yeah. He he walks around it for a bit, right? Checks to see, like, does the light pass through? Where does the shadow go?
He's like
right?
doing a checklist of all things Merv would have done. Merv's like,
Yep. You see, he at one point gets a lantern, shines it at different angles, he gets close. He begins pulling out his tinkering tools and pokes at it a little more, pokes at it with just his finger, then licks his finger. And you can see as he's going about this, there's like little mechanical automatons that are like walking around him as he's going about checking all this stuff. He begins doing a little bit of magic as well. But I'm gonna have him make a roll to see how good he does at this.
I kind of hope he crushes it.
A 19 for. Wait.
Nice.
You flash a genius yourself too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that a flash of genius?
Hell yeah.
Is it your int mod? Is that how it works?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna get like a 35, isn't he?
I never got that high level with Beckman Dim, so I never got
Okay.
to do that. So that's 24 for him, which for this instance that will allow him to discover what the thing is. You see like his eyes go wide and his like tinker tool kind of like slips and gets caught on its little wrist strap, and he looks at you. My God, it just incredible.
Merv unfolds the piece of paper and like holds it up to himself. What do you got?
In an effort not to let the others know, he gives a different description but the same result of what it does.
Merv like throws the paper down on like the table in front of him as if like showing a fucking losing poker hand. Like, fuck, you got me. Oh, shit, you got me. Like reaches out to shake his hand.
He vigorously shakes your hand. His little walker, skitters around a little bit. It seems excited as he is. He looks at the cauldron and says, "Tell you what, I like you, Merv. I'll level with you. I think you got a good head on your shoulders, especially with the information you presented to the council. I mean, that's some incredible research that you've done."
I did it in a tent with some bottles. I don't have a lot of resources, I'm gonna be honest. Otherwise, I'd probably have a fucking shop right now I'd be running in here. I mean, not here specifically, but
He looks at you and says, Would you want to help me from time to time?"
I mean, am I allowed to like take what I learn out? Like, can I take notes for myself, or is it proprietary stuff?
Well, I mean, the golem work is pretty proprietary.
Yeah, I mean, you keep those. Speaking of, like, snaps his fingers and has Chorby land on the table in front of him.
But I have a lot of other interests around here. There's a lot of projects that could be, touched on again, and I think you're the mind that I've been missing here. Baracus, he's an idiot. He doesn't understand how any of this works.
He ain't used to making stuff, is he?
No, he likes talking to people, and I find that abhorrent.
I mean, I manage, but like only if I'm like the second person talking, right? Like, you gotta get like a better person than you up there, and you just nod and say stuff like, reckon,
Yeah.
and then you seem like, yeah,
Let me try it. Reckon.
yeah, reckon, yeah, but
Reckon.
yeah, you got spirits in the right place. I mean, first off, absolutely, I will do these projects with you when I have time, which may not be like a lot, but
Oh, I understand. I used to do a bit of field work myself. Very busy, but here, let me show you something. He takes you to a portion of the workshop that you all not stepped foot in, a kind of a back room. Um, he kind of twirls his little tinkering tool, and a bunch of lights begin like popping on in the room. And on the far side of the wall, there's like a very large secured iron door. Like it is meant to keep everything out of kind of door. He walks up to it. You can see as he inserts his tinker tool, the tinker tool itself like shifts into a different shape, goes into a lock. You can see him spinning it a few times, and then the door begins. All these mechanisms activate, and the door begins to open. And he looks at you and says, "What I'm about to show you, very few people have ever seen. I trust I can rely on your discretion."
Merv, without saying anything, just reaches a hand out to shake.
He gives you the shake. The bond has been made. He escorts you into the room, pulls a lever on the wall, and a bunch of arcane lights light up. And in the center of this room, lying like diagonal, like a upright kind of medical table, as it kind of like a slab, right? Like a Frankenstein kind of slab. It's not a Frankenstein, right? But I'm just like it's a lab thing, right? You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. On that, the little spotlight in the center of the room, like lamp comes on to illuminate it. You see Um, you see a metal body in ruin. Um, a large portion of the upper torso is like torn, scorched. Uh, one of the legs is missing halfway on the thigh. Again, like torn, ripped away. The face, um, the head of this thing, severely damaged, like split open. Um, this is not a person. If you didn't know any better, it'd be a suit of metal. But it is the most intricate suit of metal you've seen. And as you look at it, you begin to recognize the form of it in the golems around town. Except this is. The golems would be molds of clay, and this is uh, a sculpture to rival the gods themselves. The difference in magnitude. As you step closer, you see there's layer after layer after layer of metal in this thing. Intricate. There's carvings in it, not words, symbols, but they're carved like layers on top of layers. The intricacy is mind boggling.
Merv immediately casts Detect Magic, like almost hungrily. Like seeing the surface level and knowing, like, holy fucking shit, this, if it looks like this, just to the not magical eye.
You cast Detect Magic. It's inert.
Merv like blinks, like takes his glasses off and then puts them back on to make sure they're working.
This is the foundation of everything. My entire career. Everything I've ever worked on. All comes from this. You're not the only one who knows about the ancient world, my friend.
Merv like glances towards the door and says, "Well, I think they're gonna have a day of respite for at least one of them. So, what do you need me to help with today?"
I'm working on improvements. New prototype for our golems. You see, whatever this is, it's far more complicated than anything I could make or even attempt to replicate. But pieces of it, the ideas of it, we put into what we can do. And I think you're just the mind to help.
Yeah, Merv, like at this point, like almost half listening, is like walking forward as his hands like reflexively reach in to get his little charcoal pen and his like notepad and start circling it just like Fettlework did the like weird shadow clone.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I might do like an Ancient Arcana next time, but I think that's it's a good spot to end with Merv
Yeah.
like circling, almost like fucking salivating, like open mouth, just leaning forward hungrily, looking at it.
Excellent. wonderful game this evening.